People classify Duppy stories as folklore, which makes connections to the past. The reality is that Duppy stories in Jamaica highlight the creativity of our population. These stories are aimed to entertain, scare the weak-hearted, and comment on social issues. The Learning Journey is pleased to present in association with Turn It Up Tuesday, hosted by Ross Audio. Did you know? This week, our topic is stories about Jamaican Duppies. Duppies only walk at night. Jamaica's rich history and unique blend of cultures have given rise to several fascinating beliefs regarding spirits and encounters with the afterlife. According to Professor Chevannes of the University of the West Indies, who studied Jamaican culture, many people in Jamaica believe that Duppies rest in the day, roam at night, and must find their tombs and graves before sunrise. They never walk with 2 feet on the ground, and they cannot count beyond the number 3. While many people fear Duppies, many believe that their religion will safeguard them and prepare them to conquer any Duppy. Bob Marley had no fear. He stated in his song that he was a Duppy conqueror, suggesting he was shielded and strong enough to prevail in the supernatural world of Duppies, with the help of Rastafari, of course. It is often assumed that Jamaica and the Caribbean originally had Christian beliefs. But the reality is that the captured Africans had their religion, and many of them were forced into Christianity. Despite this, many would find a way to practice their beliefs. If you are Jamaican or someone living in the Caribbean, you must have heard the words Duppies, ghosts, rolling calf, river mama, mother woman, 4-eye, black heart man, spiritualist, healer, obia, and the terms go on. These terms are connected to stories involving good and bad. Many Jamaicans are quick to say, yes, we are indeed superstitious. However, some of the events are connected to real-life experiences. These beliefs can be traced back to various sources. Some can be traced back to the remnants of the island's original inhabitants. Others stem from African traditions that enslaved people brought over with them during the peak of the transatlantic slave trade. I came across information written over 100 years ago. The information stated that conversations on Duppies in Jamaica was an important part of people's daily lives. The information went on to say that Duppies were talked about regardless of who you are or your social standing. The writer also mentioned the term rolling calf. So many stories have been told about rolling calves, a horrible creature that travels the hillside and creates terror. A rolling calf has fire in its eyes and a chain that makes noise. Back in my days, I heard stories about men coming from the rum bar driving on a road and seeing the rolling calf. It was always the man under his liquor who would tell these stories. According to the folklore, which is of course Jamaican culture, running up a hill is the only way of escaping a rolling calf. Yes, rolling calves are not able to go uphill. Jamaicans like to talk about spirits. Even today, some Jamaicans who like someone as a friend will say, "Me spirit take them," meaning they like the person's ways. However, there is more of a deeper connection to the spirit issue. Many Jamaicans have reported seeing or interacting with spirits or ghosts. They often describe them as Duppy. According to one researcher who published his work in 1934, he stated that Jamaicans believe that all people living and dead have Duppies. What are your thoughts on this? Duppy stories are always exciting and are often told during family gatherings, bar talk, and wakes. One thing for sure is that many Jamaicans will run away from any shadow or movements at night. And we use the lyrics from Ernest Smith to say, well, it must be a Duppy or a gunman I never stopped to see. Quarry was a boy to me last night, him couldn't follow me. Many Jamaicans believe that a person's Duppy is visible only to one person. And that is to say, they will be with them until they die. Sometimes they believe that Duppies can emerge and interact with the living too. Based on folklore, Duppies love throwing stones. For example, Duppies would throw stones on roofs at night. Even one priest from overseas who lived in Jamaica in 1895 vouched for observing the psychic phenomena while staying in Jamaica. The priest stated that his first experience of stone-throwing Duppies was rather startling and timely. He said one evening after dark he was on his way to Alva Mission, situated on a mountaintop. He met a group of people about a mile away from the mission. They got around him and warned him against going up to the mission. They said that Duppies were up at nights throwing stones and had stoned the teacher away from Alva School. The stone throwing seemed to have gone on for a week or more before his arrival. One person told him there is a way to test if it's a real Duppy. This was done by marking the stone and throwing it towards the Duppy. If the marked stone was thrown back, it was a real Duppy. The same priest was warned not to sleep in the mission. However, he decided to ignore the warning. That night, a little boy who was sleeping in the hall got up and went to the priest to tell him that there was a lady and gentleman outside wanting to see him. The boy pointed to the section where the visitors were. However, there was no one there. Seeing this, the boy was so scared he could not be persuaded to sleep alone. In another case, a man living near the priest came for counsel. He said that every night the Duppies came and knocked on his door from sunset to sunrise. He tried to kill one of the Duppies, but the gun did not go off. The reality is you can't shoot a Jamaican Duppy. If you are interested in reading more about the priest's documentation, I would urge you to check out my YouTube channel and the description. In 1895, the Englewood published a report titled Duppy Catcher. The man was creating drama in the location of Darlington Mountain in Westmoreland. According to the Gleaner, this man had powers, and everyone looked up to him. The Duppy Catcher reportedly lit fires, walked around the community, around the mill, and many believed that his actions eradicated Duppies. Duppy stories are connected to the afterlife and are just part of the Jamaican culture. While many of these stories have been removed from our dominant culture, remember we need to revisit them. According to one researcher, storytelling within a culture never dies. It is recreated to suit new situations. However, I am worried about that, and you should be too. Because today in Jamaica, there's talk about God rings and spirits that live in these rings. However, that's for another presentation. Maybe it's time once again to share these old Duppy stories. It may just help the current generation understand the context and the struggles within these stories. Over to you, Rossi.